Good morning, everyone. You guessed it, we're talking about ethics again today. This purely fictional scenario, it's from a TV show, but it can still really get you thinking, and we're still going to debate about it. So let's get right into it. There was an episode of Private Practice where a woman and her boyfriend came in crying, saying that she needed to be induced and have her baby today. Addison, the main doctor, found out that the woman had another son, about 6 years old, who was in the hospital dying. Turns out another doctor in the building had impregnated the woman with a genetic match for her dying son so she could take the blood from the umbilical cord to save her 6-year-old's life. Everything was going smoothly until it wasn't. There was a baby on the donor list who was going to donate to the woman's 6-year-old until she was able to give birth to her baby and then give the blood from her baby's umbilical cord. The other baby was a close enough match that it would keep her 6-year-old alive long enough for her to carry her pregnancy to term. Well, that baby that was going to donate got pneumonia and was immediately taken off the donate list. The woman now wanted her baby to be induced, even though she's only 6 months pregnant and the baby has such a low chance of living. But if the baby isn't born, her son would be dead in 12 hours. What should they do? I could agree with this situation if the baby was able to grow to term. Since what they need is just the blood from the umbilical cord, it wouldn't cause stress and harm to the newborn. They could save their dying son and have another bundle of joy to welcome into the world. That's if they plan on keeping the baby. If they plan to put it up for adoption, I could agree a little less, but she's still not hurting the baby. She's not just creating another child to harvest their organs for her dying son. She just needs blood that doesn't even come out of the baby, but their umbilical cord, which gets cut anyway when they're born. Now, in the show, the mother was very adamant about having the baby taken out now. She didn't care that it was too premature and had a low chance of surviving. She needed to save her son, who was lying alone in a hospital bed. She seems to have very little care for the human she's been growing for the past 6 months. She also really has no other choice. The donor was as close of a match to keep him alive until she had her baby. Now there's no donor, and he's only getting sicker. She has to choose between her son, who she's grown to know and love and raise, or the baby inside her that she's never even met yet. In my opinion, she shouldn't induce and have the baby. Yeah, she's saving her son's life, but she's putting her other baby at risk. The baby may not survive after birth and may suffer for the remainder of its short life in the hospital. This baby is cold and suffering and alone while they're saving their other son. I imagine that if her son dies and she gives birth to this baby, she may not love it as much. She may see this new baby as a replacement for her son. She may be angry that she couldn't save him and that the baby couldn't save him. She may be filled with anger towards this baby its entire life. What I would do if I was in this situation is I could not ever find it in myself to induce this baby and bring this baby into the world way too premature in order to get blood to save my son. Because I just can't imagine putting another soul through harm and putting somebody else through all that suffering and everything. And if they do live, they still have gone through all of that pain. This baby, newborn, freshly born, is still going through all of that. And that just hurts to think about that. And I gave birth to my 6-year-old son, and I love my 6-year-old son. But at the same time, there's a point where some things just can't be done. And bad things can happen, terrible things can happen. And it would hurt, and it would be terrible having a baby taken from me so soon, having my 6-year-old son who, 6 years sounds like a long time until you have a kid, and then it just goes by so fast. And feeling like you've had no time with this being at all, and then it's ripped from you. It would hurt a lot. But knowing that I didn't bring somebody else into the world and make them suffer in order to try to save my son would make the grieving process a lot easier. And yes, this woman may probably blame herself if her son dies. There's a huge possibility that she will regret her decision in choosing not to give birth to this baby and use it to save her son. But in the end, you're going to grieve one way or another, because who's to say that you give birth to this baby, the baby doesn't live, but you got the blood to save your other son. You went through 6 months of pregnancy. You carried this baby. It was going to be your baby. And now it's not alive anymore. So it's a trade-off. And I don't know how this woman would feel. I know that I personally would feel terrible if I put a newborn baby, through something so terrible in order to save my son. I will grieve, I will cry, I will be angry, I will be upset, I will have so many emotions running through me. But in the end, I will feel a little bit better about my decision, knowing that I only lost one person that day. What would your decision be? What do you think that you would do in a situation like that?